Hi everyone, Comic Book Reviewer here, this time doing another DC film review, and this one is on Justice League versus Teen Titans. Now, as you know, Justice League versus Teen Titans is meant to be a 2016 animated superhero film, which of course was the 26th film in the DC animated original movies and the 7th film in the DC animated movie universe, which of course was meant to be the next entry in the whole New 52 movie universe. And my best thoughts about Justice League versus Teen Titans is that it does feel like a sort of more movie adaptation of Season 4 of Teen Titans, just tweaking some things around. And the premise of the film is meant to follow after the battle between the Justice League and Legion of Doom, and after Damian sort of neglecting orders and sort of not doing what he was told, after something that happens with one of the supervillains, Weather Wizard, we see how Batman decides to put Damian, his son, into the Teen Titans, which of course has Starfire, Blue Beetle, Raven, as well as basically Beast Boy. And the best way I would describe the Teen Titans here, it's kind of clear that it's using similar voice actresses and actors to mimic the original Teen Titan actors. And I think it's clear that Coley Wogan is trying to be a sort of similar voice to Hayden Welsh, who voiced Princess Bubblegum, who did the voice for Starfire. And it's kind of clear that Beast Boy's actor here, Brandon Shohu, is meant to be similar to how I think Beast Boy's original actor, Greg Gripes, tried to sound similar to what his voice was. And it's also kind of clear to me that Teresa Vergiga is meant to try and sound similar to Tara Strong. So here we see how at first Damian does feel like the odd one out. He's a little bit like trying to be better than everyone else. Until we see how something that happens with Raven and more connections between the demon Trigon. And this is where we see how the Teen Titans have to band together to try and stop Trigon, as well as Batman and the Justice League having to learn more about Trigon. And we see how both sides have to try and figure things out, try and sort out the problem. And in other words, it's sort of like a slightly abridged version of Season 4. And I do give them credit in trying to go a little more darker, edgier, and a bit more serious, but I think it takes away what I think Season 4 got right here, because Season 4 showed how darker, serious, and how things were basically risen on much more higher. You get there's a sense from Raven's perspective that she knows what her father Trigon was like. You get there's a sense that she knew just how serious Trigon was a dangerous threat. It's kind of clear that obviously Robin, back in the 2003 cartoon, tried to be a friend, a supportive figure, and a big brother to Raven. But I think when it's with Damian being a potential love interest, it just feels like that kind of whole, oh, I feel your pain, I know the connection, let me sympathize with you. But in other words, when it's just with Stuart Allen, it takes away what I think Robin's original actor, Scott Manville, was like. Because Scott Manville sounded like this Robin who was a little figured out. He still understood what his original team were. I think when you got it with Damian Wayne being played by Stuart Allen, it takes away any emotional growth. And it's clear that when they do bring the whole new actors for the movie, it's kind of clear they're trying to mirror a bit of the 2003 Free cartoon. And I do admit, I don't think Teresa Farmiga was a bad choice for Raven, and there's a reason I could have seen her playing Ellie in the live-action TV show on The Last of Us, because you could definitely get there's a sense like her voice does sound close to Ashley Johnson, and when you look up her pictures and that, it does fit what she needs to look like for Ellie. And I think it's a shame they didn't really pick her to be Ellie from basically The Last of Us. She's a good actress. You can definitely get this a sense they were trying to go with an actress that needed to sound similar to Tara Strong. And I think the problem with the film in general is that it's trying to mirror elements of the 2003 cartoon, because when it does bring in a demon trying to copy Ra's al Ghul to sort of manipulate Damien, it takes away any build-up we got with Slade, because Slade was the bigger, badder foe, and you got a sense from season 1 and 2 how serious Slade was as a villain. When you got Ra's al Ghul just appearing in one basically animated film connected to the New 52 movie universe, it takes away any emotional growth. It takes away all of that build-up we got to see. And I can understand from Damien's perspective, knowing that it was a family member that you've known for so long, it does feel like they were trying to play it with basically Damien instead. I think my best thoughts with Justice League vs. Teen Titans is that it does feel like a slightly watered down version, and it's kind of clear that even beforehand they were playing on the whole nostalgia factors, because when you've got basically Cyborg on the cover and only having a few scenes, they were kind of egging on that he would join the Teen Titans, and I get it, this is meant to try and hint at the idea that this was originally intended to be a animated original movie of basically Teen Titans. So my best thoughts in general, kind of alright, kind of okay, but not really building things up, just copy and pasting from what we saw from season 4, just feel slightly watered down, less interesting, and just a poor man's take. So it definitely deserves 2 thumbs in the middles. Kind of alright, kind of okay, but a slightly weaker, average, run-of-the-mill DC animated movie. So, comic book reviewer here, signing out.